Hello, you sexy bastards. So a couple of days ago I asked you guys, what's your favorite YouTube history channel? What's your go-to channel for history? Most of the people answered OverSimplified. So we're back, OverSimplified, the French Revolution. So I saw the videos they had, and I wanted to keep it like a little bit historically, chronologically kind of at the point, and I think this is like the earliest one they've covered, the French Revolution. I'm pretty sure it's like because they had World War One, World War Two, American Revolution, all that stuff. Next is probably I think the American Revolution, chronologically speaking. So yeah, let's get to it.
Made possible by NordVPN. Get protected by clicking the link below and get an amazing 75% off.
Sorry.
That's only $2.99 per month with an additional month free for a limited time.
Yay!
Also, new French Revolution merch available now in the store, including King Louis and Marie Antoinette character pins, complete with detachable heads, just like the real thing.
Fair enough.
So I said to the Marquis de la Fufayette, "What do you think I am? Some dirty peasant? I've never worked a day in my life."
Damn. What a jokester.
Wow, that Marie Antoinette sure is pretty. Sure is. Wouldn't want to be Prince Louis though. That's going to be a lot of responsibility when he becomes king, especially since France is in financial ruin.
Oof.
Quite. Thank you one and all for attending the royal marriage of my grandson, the future king of France, to the Archduchess of Austria. Now for the very awkward yet historically accurate part of the ceremony, where we all watch them get into bed together.
Well, that was the thing.
All right, now
Yeah.
that's out of the way. Let's leave the royal couple to it. You better give us an heir, you fat, ill-bred boy. Nighty-night.
Oi.
That's gonna be a lot of responsibility.
I'm sure that's a thing that can get your PP working.
France is in financial ruin. You fat, ill-bred boy. Quite. That's gonna be a lot of responsibility. France is in financial ruin. You fat, ill-bred boy. That's gonna be a lot of responsibility. Oh, great. He's a freaking weirdo.
Oh man, come on.
France, the most prosperous, cultured, and beautiful
Baguette.
nation in the world.
Oh,
as
what
it had
the
been
fuck?
for centuries. An exquisite social culture, with the king and the upper class
Why is that bitch on the table?
crazy parties every night, enjoying high living and fine dining. Who cares that they were only able to do so off the backs of the hard-working, starving poor? What are they gonna do? Revolt? They're only 80% of the population. No. Life in France is great. What's that, France? You want to go to war with Britain and increase your power? Go for it, little buddy. You do you.
How many times though? How many times though? How many French-English wars have there been?
And you lost. Now you're in severe financial debt. We have no money. What do? Should we stop partying? Heck no. Party harder. That's okay. The peasantry will pick up the slack. They were created by God to do all the work, and you were created to reap
Damn.
all the benefits and party hard.
Damn.
That's just how society works, and we've all just accepted it for
Okay,
centuries.
first estate, clergy. Second estate, wait, clergy's on top of the nobility? I mean, they would be only on top of little boys in the nobility, technically, but third estate, peasantry, middle class, everyone else. Damn. I didn't know these guys were first. I thought it was the other way around.
Why? Why what? Why do the nobility get to be all rich and stuff? Just because they were born into it?
Yes.
And the rest of us schmucks just have to accept that?
Yes.
Hell, why do we even need a king? Who decided that? It all just seems very unfair and unequal, and I, for
Sure.
one, am starting to question it. Wow, that's very enlightened of you. And so began the Age of Enlightenment. Great philosophical thinkers across France and beyond began to question whether this beautiful nation was really all that beautiful.
Bro, who is this guy? Who is this fat piece of shit?
And beyond began to question whether this beautiful nation
Look at this, my man. No wonder look at his throne. It looks like they had to reinforce his throne like 3 times so his fat ass doesn't fall through. God
was
damn.
really all that beautiful after all. Hey, Prince Louis, bad news.
Louis.
Your grandpop died of smallpox this morning, which means good news, you're now the king. So just to sum up, France is in severe financial debt, and the angry populace are beginning to question how necessary you are. But hey, I believe in you, champ. You got this. Maybe. Oh no! Prince Louis Capet became King Louis XVI In May 1774, he was a notoriously weak man, and he knew it. He barely had the wisdom to rule a nation.
Wait.
Never a notoriously weak man. He became King Louis XVI.
The
In May
16th.
1774.
Wait, who was the 14th? Was it the 14th that had... I remember we used to study French history. I don't remember shit from it, but I remember one of them was the Sun King. Was that the one? That was very important for some reason.
74. He was a
it was the
notoriously
14th,
weak
right?
man, and he knew it. He barely had the wisdom to rule a nation, never mind one in crisis. And
We're rich, we're losing money, still party time. We have no money, party to forget. Heads are gonna roll how JK keep fighting.
he was easily manipulated by those around him. One of his first acts was to try to get revenge on the British by financing their American colony's revolution. Hey, we're an independent nation now. That was real swell of you, Louis. Couldn't have done it without you. Glad I could help. So hey, about all that money we lent you, when can we
Yeah.
get that back? Yep, you're a great guy. I'll never forget what you've done for us. Real glad I could help, friend, but about that money. Gotta go now, chum. Best of luck to you.
Oh, so they didn't pay them back?
And now
Wait,
France
is it...
was an even more...
How historically accurate is that? They didn't pay him back? Damn.
France is poor, suffering under the strain of economic ruin,
Oof.
watched as the nobility continued to live as though nothing was wrong. In particular, they grew increasingly disdainful of the Queen, Marie Antoinette, as she continued to spend all of France's money on her own luxurious lifestyle and
Yo, that poor elephant. Can it actually take all that weight of that bitch? Look at that ass. Her ass is like 5 meters behind her. That poor fucking elephant.
fashion. While the peasants were breaking their backs in the fields, she was walking around like, hey, my hair is a boat. I'm not making that up. Her hair really was a boat.
Oh, too bad it's gonna end up like the Titanic, huh?
And her lavish spending earned her the nickname
It took me a
Madame
while, but I
Deficit.
got it.
And speaking of the Queen,
Madame
there was also a
Deficit.
long-standing scandal around the fact that the king took a very long time to boink her, and the working classes of Paris began ridiculing the royal couple with lewd pamphlets depicting the Queen as a court thought and the king as a wuss, unable to fulfill his marital duty. Respect for the monarchy was at an all-time low, as France's finances were spiraling out of control, and the king and his aides really only had one solution to the crisis: tax the poor. Tax the poor. We could do a sexy calendar shoot.
Tax the poor more? They're gonna throw him out the window?
I mean, tax the poor. And so it was.
Oh, come on, bro. That was the perfect opportunity for that meme. Y'all know when they're at the meeting, everyone suggests one dumbass thing, someone suggests something smart, they throw him out the window.
The poor,
Oh,
who
come
were
on.
already struggling to make ends meet, found themselves being taxed from every direction. Hey, I'm the royal tax collector. Looks like you've yet to pay your income tax, head tax. By the way, how many windows you got in that house of yours? 3? Oof, yep. There's gonna be a tax for that. Hey, your local priest here. Have you paid your church tithe yet? Well, at least this one is going to the good work of God. Or... God. I think this year, God wants me to buy a new swimming pool.
Ah,
Hey, private
was
tax
that the fifth
collector
one?
here. Oh, and I brought some goons with me.
Wait,
Just a few quick questions. How much salt did you buy this year? About 7 kilos, I think? Yep. Okay, there's gonna be a tax for that. Oh, what's that over there? And that's extra salt I held over from last year, so I wouldn't have to buy as much this year.
Ooh.
Yep, there's a tax for that. And what are you doing with all this salt?
Yeah. All things considered, I'm kind of surprised it took them this long for them to rebel. I'm a little surprised by that.
Well, obviously cooking. Mm-hmm.
There's a tax for that.
Yep.
Oh,
And
eating?
preserving fish and
Wow.
meat.
Breathing?
Oh,
Tax.
no. Yep. And there's a tax for that. Hey, how old is he? He's 9. And so he's purchased his required amount of salt for this year, right? What? No, he's 9. Uh-oh. Sorry, little Timmy. Looks like I'm gonna have to tax you for that.
Yep. Taxing
Yep.
for that.
Salty. There's gonna be a tax for that. And that's not all. A huge portion of the peasants' harvest had to be given up. And there was also the labor
Okay,
tax,
buddy.
where peasants were required to work a certain number of days for their local lord without pay. Obviously, people weren't too happy.
Brother. Brother. You're taxing everything they have. And outside of that, you want them to work as a tax for no money. Bro,
With these taxes.
how does that go through? How do you suggest something like that? Hey, I think we should put this tax where people work. Why? Fuck it, bro. Why not? Why not? They should work. The peasants, right? That's what they do. They work. Let's work them more.
The aggressive nature of these private tax farmers sometimes even escalated to violence. In particular, though, the people really hated how inconsistent the taxation rules were across the nation, and also the fact that the first two estates often had to pay very little, if any, tax at all. And so, the anger continued to grow.
Hey, listen, you cannot tax God. That's not how. You can't be taxing God.
Had a population that was just about ready to explode. What could push them over the edge? How about a touch of natural disaster? A series of harsh summers and winters
I remember
left the
this was a
peasants'
thing.
harvests in ruin, meaning they had no food or money, and the cost of bread skyrocketed. Of course, the upper classes had massive stocks of grain,
Damn, bitch.
so they were virtually untouched by this new crisis. But now the poor really were starving, and they began to riot. Women took to the streets, bakeries were raided, and bakers suspected of keeping bread for themselves were sometimes even hanged. Wow, this is really getting out of control.
But what do you mean suspected of keeping bread to themselves? Yeah, imagine people wanting to eat. I mean, listen, rioting is good. No one said the peasants were smart though. Like, they might look like the good guys compared to the shitty nobles, but they're still retards. Most of them probably, so they, I mean, damn, probably did some foul shit.
Your Majesty, we need some decisive action. You need to step up and lead us. What will you do?
Tax them more?
Okay, I've got this. I know. I'll summon the estate's general. And
Can we get a rebellion tax?
they'll decide what to do.
Oh, that cannot
You really
go.
are a fat, ill-bred boy. The estate's general was the closest thing France had to a government, apart from the king. It was a purely advisory body and was rarely summoned. In fact, it hadn't been summoned for 175 years prior to this.
Jeez.
But with France in a severe crisis, the king felt the time was right to call on the government to help. The estate's general was made up of representatives from the three estates, that is, the clergy,
The three estates as
nobility,
well?
and everybody else. Okay, thanks for coming, everyone. The first order of business is regarding the clergy and nobility. You all get brand new Porsches. You get a Porsche, and you get a Porsche, and you get a Porsche. Everybody gets a Porsche. And now into the second order of business. France is completely out of money. Like, it's never been this bad before. Anyone got any ideas? How about we all get Lamborghinis next time? The king decided that in order to make a decision, they had to come up with a voting system. Okay, the clergy. You have a population of 130,000, so you'll get 1 vote. The nobility. You have a population of 350,000,
Jeez.
so you'll also get 1 vote. And the third estate. You have a population of 27
So you guys get 1 vote total.
million people and make up 98% of the population. Very impressive. You'll get 1 vote. The third estate were obviously pretty unhappy with this system because they kept on finding that this would happen. We propose to raise taxes on the third estate. All in favor? All opposed? 2 to 1. Taxes will be raised on the third estate. We propose a motion
that's
that
fucked.
says the first 2 estates are a bunch of poo-poo heads.
That's
All
fucked.
in favor? All opposed? 2 to 1. It's official. We are not poo-poo heads. The third estate realized that any attempt at reform would be outvoted by the 2 upper
Damn.
estates, and they thought that was kind of lame. So they decided that since they were 98% of the population, they could go off to form their own government, make their own laws, and take over the running of the country. And so, the National Assembly was born.
National
the third estate
Assembly.
was now in control, and there was nothing the king could do to stop. Haha! I've locked you all out of your building. What are you gonna do about it? We'll probably go find a different building that isn't locked. Oh, no! The National Assembly did find another unlocked building, just down the road, an indoor tennis court. We're on the 20th of June, 1789.
Wait, he
They all
wasn't-
took the
wait.
tennis court
He's not joking. He wasn't joking.
oath, pledging to continue meeting until the king finally gave in to their demands for more equality and economic reform. This new National Assembly included many of the most educated members of the Third Estate, including 2 young lawyers by the names of Maximilien Robespierre and Georges Danton. Some members of the
Georges
first 2
Danton.
estates even joined their cause. Some of these men formed a radical new political party called the Jacobin Club,
The jacking it
and even
club.
joined their cause. Some of these men
No girls allowed. Jacob Blink Rose Roby Spring Tihi.
And formed a
It's
radical
right to be
political group
radical.
called the Jacobin Club and quickly became leading figures. While many members of the Third Estate simply wanted more equality, a growing number in this Jacobin faction would begin calling for something even crazier, the removal of the king entirely. And this is where fear began to take hold. With such a volatile situation developing, everyone was afraid of something. The king feared his position was under threat, and he called in the military to take position around Paris. The Third Estate heard rumor of the gathering military force, and they feared the king was planning to round them up and arrest them. Maybe he'd even execute them. It also didn't help that the king had just dismissed France's popular finance minister, who had been trying to make reforms himself. It seemed the king was done negotiating. Fear, left unchecked, often boils over into anger, and anger detonates with violence. The angry people of Paris, after centuries of cruel inequality, harsh oppression, even starvation, fearful of having their new movement for reform demolished so soon, decided that it was now or never to take action. Screw reform. They decided they'd do one better. How about revolution? The people of Paris, believing the French military was preparing to attack, decided they should arm themselves. The National Assembly announced the creation of a bourgeois militia, the National Guard, and immediately many troops from the French military defected over to the revolutionary side. In the early hours of July,
all things considered, the military is probably part of the third group, right? Because they're not nobles. I mean, the generals are probably nobles, and all the higher class are probably nobles. The normal soldiers probably third class. So your parents are starving, your brothers are starving, your whole family is starving. You're probably not starving because you're military, but that doesn't mean shit. You hate the people. Makes sense.
July 14th, 1789, a large crowd stormed and raided the Hotel des Invalides, a military hospital where they were able to secure a large number of rifles. The bad news was they weren't able to find any gunpowder for their new weapons. The good news was they knew exactly where to get some. A prison fortress and a symbol of royal tyranny towering over Paris. The Bastille. Mid-morning, the crowd gathered around the Bastille and demanded that the man in charge, Governor Delaunay, surrender the prison.
Damn, brother, I'm not gonna say you look like a fucking villain out of a movie, but goddamn, brother, you look like a villain out of a movie.
And hand over the gunpowder. Obviously, Governor Delaunay was like, no way. So he stalled for time by inviting a few members of the crowd in for negotiations. The crowd, still waiting outside, quickly became impatient, and before long, they stormed the fortress, taking on the French troops inside. Your Majesty, we've received word that the people have surrounded the Bastille. Governor Delaunay will hold them off. No need to worry. Actually, Your Majesty, it appears the crowd is now headed away from the Bastille. You see? What did I tell you?
They probably got the gunpowder,
Governor Delaunay has defeated them and has them on the run. No need to worry.
No need to worry.
Your Majesty, isn't that Governor Delaunay's head on a pike? Well... Clearly, Governor Delaunay has taken on the form of a bodiless pikehead deity, and the people are so enamored with him, they're parading him around the city. No need to worry at all. When the National Assembly heard about the violence that had taken place, they had two options. Either one, they denounce it and try to carry on the revolution using peaceful means.
Yeah, and probably die after because the people would be angry at them that they did not support them. It sounds like the fucking worst idea ever.
Or two, they say, damn, you stuck his head on a pike?
That's pretty rad. No. No hardcore. That's rad, bro. Rad. Come on. Rad.
We love it. Incidentally, they went with option number 2. Some historians believe this reaction paved the way for the utter violence and bloodshed that would become the legacy of the French Revolution. This widespread acceptance of violence during the revolution is also largely credited to the writings of a certain Jean-Paul Marat, a man of science with a horrible skin condition that kept him confined to a bathtub. He began writing a radical newspaper here.
Wait. What kind of skin condition has you confined to a bath? And another thing, do you have a lifeguard for that body of water? Y'all remember that porn skit? This is a bathtub. I don't need a lifeguard.
Affectionately named the Friend of the People.
Afraid?
Citizens of France, be very afraid. Given the chance, the king and the nobility won't hesitate to massacre us all. The solution is simple.
Massacre them
Execute
first.
Kill every last one of them. Cut off 1,000 heads, and if that's not enough, cut off
1,000
1,000
more.
more. Oh, hey, Mr. Squeaky. What are you doing down there? You're so cute. Aw, I love you too, Mr. Squeaky. Mwah. Now, where was I?
1,000 more.
Kill them all. It
Yes.
became one of the most popular publications in Paris during the Revolution. and
Hey, bro,
succeed-
can you imagine the most popular piece of poetry, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, is kill them all? Kill the king, kill them all. Why not? Just take the head off. Come on, do
aided in
it. Do it.
spreading
Do it now.
ever-increasing fear and anger among the people. In August, leaders of the National Assembly, with help from a certain Thomas Jefferson, adopted
Oh.
the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, an incredible document that guaranteed liberty and equal rights to all men. And when I say men, I mean men. Despite its glaring shortcomings in gender equality, the massively influential declaration would go on to inspire the struggle for liberty and equality across the planet for centuries. However, back in France, the vast majority of the people weren't
Starving
really
but
so
smart.
concerned with enlightened ideas of equality as much as they were concerned with the fact that they were still starving.
Starving.
Bread was still expensive as hell and hard to come by. The people felt that one reason nothing had been done yet about the crisis was because the king simply couldn't see the problem. He lived in Versailles, a full 20 kilometers southwest of Paris, and as a result, lived in comfort, separated from his dirty, stinking subjects. On October 5th,
Bro, why is even his statue looking inbred? What is this? Look at the statue. It looks inbred as well.
stinking
God damn.
subjects. On October 5th, a crowd of women, 7,000 strong, decided they'd do something unprecedented.
7,000 women?
They decided
Damn.
they'd remove that separation and
Lot of
confront
fish.
the king directly.
I'm
The
sorry.
women marched all the way to the king's palace in Versailles. Along the way, the crowd continued to grow into the tens of thousands. And when they arrived, they
Oh.
demanded an audience with the king. What are those things outside the palace? They're poor people, your majesty. That's poor people?
Oh, she's got a parrot head. Oh, she's got a parrot head, bruh. Hey, I just figured it out. If she didn't want to give me head, why just not make head protection? I mean, just get a helmet for head.
People? They say they're hungry. Hungry? Then let them eat cake. Wow. See, this
Oh
is the
yeah.
exact
Wait,
BS
that was a thing she actually said, no? If they're hungry, they should just eat cake. I think I remember that from history, right?
that led to this whole mess in the first place. You're so out of touch. They're writhing around in the filth, breaking their back to barely scrape by, and they come to you demanding just the basic ability to feed themselves, and you think a slice of cake will sort them out?
Yes.
Then let them eat Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme.
Not invented yet.
Wow.
Not invented
They're
yet.
not that desperate. Members of
Damn.
the crowd actually managed to break into the palace with the intention
Alright,
of
guys.
killing the queen, who narrowly escaped through a secret passage
Uh-oh.
in her bedroom. The enraged mob killed several members of the royal guard and raised their heads on pikes,
Oof.
which, if you haven't noticed yet, is something they were quite fond of doing. The king had no choice but to come out and talk to the crowd.
Hey,
He
what's
agreed
up,
to
y'all?
accept his new position,
Cake?
sharing power with the revolutionary government, and to return to Paris with the crowd, removing the separation between
What
king
is for?
and subject.
Okay.
King Louis had a problem with people constantly raiding his palace, but one thing he didn't have a problem with was people raiding his computer, because he used
VPN, huh?
If, like me, you don't like hackers stealing your data, password, bank deets, and girlfriend, then you need to check out NordVPN. With over 5,000 servers in 60 countries, it allows you to surf the net anonymously and VPN. With over 5,000 servers
Okay, fair
in
enough.
60 countries, it allows you to surf the net anonymously and safely with no personal data login. It's super easy to use. You can take a trip to a server
No, in
Japan
Russia?
with just a click
Weird.
of a button. And while you're there, why not check out some sweet Japanese Netflix?
Sasuke?
Or maybe you want to watch a certain OverSimplified video that for some reason has been blocked in your country. Well, with NordVPN, you can. NordVPN gives you access to super fast servers and much more. And if you're not happy with it, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Get NordVPN now by clicking the link below, nordvpn.com/oversimplified,
I bit
and
my
get an
fucking tongue.
amazing 75% off. That's
Fuck.
only $2.99 per month with an additional month free for a limited time. And you'll also be helping to support my channel. So again, that's nordvpn.com/oversimplified.
Oh, that's it! No! No! Okay, that's fine. What do you guys think? I'm already subbed, I'm already liked. What do you guys think? I mean, we're gonna watch the second one of this. Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all next time. Quick thank you to the YouTube members and patrons. Have a nice day, everybody. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.